and welcome to a space where you can join me as I create something without necessarily having an outcome in mind. And I just like to show up here and experiment with some things. And today I'm working with this stone paper, which I don't really know how to control yet, and some interesting watercolor. I guess it's an ink, but it is a water-based ink. So just experimenting with this. I don't have anything in mind. I don't know why this is, it's just very interesting how this has created this path here. But I'm just going to experiment with this and see what happens. I don't really know how to control this type of paper. It's a completely different thing for me with watercolor. Well, if you're just joining me, I'm experimenting here with some stone or mineral paper and some of these Ranger Distress inks, which are water-based ink. And I don't use them very often because they're a spray and it kind of makes a mess. So I thought I'd try dipping into them with my brush instead, or these pipettes to spread the color around instead of spraying it on. Mm. I'm kind of limiting myself to just blue, orange, and this pink today to see what happens. And the other thing I am going to try is this, it's kind of a resist with this rubbing alcohol. Kind of get some interesting effects with that. And so if you're just joining me, this is all an experiment with this mineral or stone paper. The watercolor kind of sits right on top and it doesn't absorb the way regular watercolor paper does. So it's a little bit, well, a little bit, I don't know how to control it at all. So this is just a complete experiment here today. I'll show you quickly. This is one I was working on earlier and just really shooting for something like that. We'll see what happens. I also have this watercolor powder, and I think that that can give us some interesting effects too. I really don't have anything planned here. This is experimentation with this interesting type of paper that's called mineral paper and watercolor, which acts completely different on the surface of this paper. It doesn't absorb into it, so it's just some interesting effects. Hard to control. So I'm not going to try to control it. I'm just going to continue to play around with it. These are, you're supposed to spray these on, but I don't know. They kind of make a mess. So I could try to spray some on, see what happens. Try right here a little bit. Ooh. And then the other thing I haven't done, which I can do, is kind of just let gravity do some work here. See what happens. It feels pretty chaotic right now with all these colors and wet areas, but let's just stick with it and see what we can do. I'm not sure I like all those heavy, dark, wet areas. Maybe I can try to lighten it up a little bit and take away a little bit of this wetness. The other thing I did earlier, if I can find it, I have these, I soaked up with this cardboard tube a little bit of the water, and it created some circles, which I liked. Thought that was kind of interesting. This, it feels pretty heavy. I think I didn't quite want it to be this dark. I'm trying to think of what else I can do without turning it into mud. I really liked that yellow that was there, and it kind of is gone now. This is just plain water. Let's see what happens. I just don't like how heavy this is right here. The blue is very dark up there. Let's see what else I have. I have some white. Maybe I'll add some of that back in here. See what happens if I do that. And again, these are all sprays, but I'm just using my brush and dipping into the bottle because kind of makes, oh, I kind of like that. Some parts are getting a little bit muddy, like down here. The blue and the orange are complementary colors, but they came together in such a way that it kind of made it look pretty brown, pretty heavy there. But just by way of what I tried this a little bit earlier, and this is how much different, this one looked. This one got a little heavy pretty quick. I'm going to put some more of this stuff in here, this brusho. So that's pretty interesting looking, and it's been quite an experiment. It's very difficult to control this type of paper because the ink in the watercolor just sits right on top. So now the biggest thing to do is just wait for it to dry. So this one probably took about a half an hour to dry. And so I'll probably post in the community notes what this one looks like when it's completely dry. It takes quite a while. Still some areas down here that I don't love. A little bit heavy. This is really, I think this part right here is pretty interesting. Oops, sorry about that. The effects are really interesting. It's just really difficult to know how to create the effect and have it be controllable. I haven't looked up to see what artists use this paper, but you can use lots of different media with it. To see how other people use it. It's really got some great effects. Get it back in the picture here on the frame here. So I think that's going to be it. I need to let this dry, and who knows, maybe I'll revisit this in a different video. And if you've stopped in or you're watching the replay, thanks for being here. And I'll be back next Wednesday with more watercolor work. And on the weekends, on Saturday, I try to do a exploratory session. Uh, right now, I'm working on some collages, but this Saturday I might not be here. So um, be sure to check back, and I will definitely see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye for now.